Always knows how to make an entrance. Hello, Jimmy Butler. Make aggression. Lakers demolishing the Warriors, throwing down some dunks in the process.
Yeah.
So, Pip, I want you to rate JaVale or Kuz. Who's better?
Ooh.
Tough, right? You can see him again. We'll loop him again.
Yeah, loop him again. I got to see that Kuz one again.
All right, Kuz?
No, I think JaVale. Because they were waiting for him, right? Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I got to go with Kuz.
Yeah?
I got to go with Kuz.
All right. The hair's
hair?
put it over the top. You get extra style points for the hair. Or maybe taken away. I don't know.
Kuz kind of did it on his own.
That's true.
Like that.
We put on
Men's basketball, Pacers and Blazers, both just struggling a little bit lately. Last night was tough. For example, in this stretch, 5 turnovers in the span of 40 seconds.
How long did it take them to score in this game?
I don't know. I was going to say it was a case of the Mondays, but it was like a case of the Thursdays. But then they turned the ball over again.
There was a point where John Hollinger
And
said
then-
these teams haven't scored since Tuesday.
Wow.
And then again.
Oh,
It's just,
man.
it's been, some nights you just don't have it, right,
Oh,
Scotty? These
yeah.
like late February games,
5 turnovers, though, I've been doing a lot of subs.
right? And there we go. Yeah, there's another one. But look at that extra effort to keep it in
Yeah,
balance,
they're
right?
playing hard. That's what counts.
Make surprises, Kings Thunder. Oklahoma City coming back from down 19 to win this one,
yeah.
thanks in small part to 2 Danilo Gallinari alley-oops. Did you know that he had this in him, Amin?
The hops? Yeah, like 8 years ago. I didn't know he still had it in him. Also, shout out to Billy Donovan,
Look at
man.
him.
He took a lot of lumps over the years about play calling and all that. Turns out he's a pretty good coach. Imagine that. They actually run the play. It's not so bad.
Oh, man, wow.
Insane.
I'm crediting Chris Paul,
He's
Yes,
pretty good too.
yes.
Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
He's really good.
And the other guys they have, they're really pulling it at a time where half their team, it felt like, got traded away, and they could sit there and say, okay, we're still going to make a run at it.
CP3 is contagious.
Absolutely. It's a great way to phrase it, Scotty. I love that. Miss Composure back to San Francisco. So Draymond, all right, let's say he flopped just a little bit. He tripped Dwight Howard just a little bit, got called for the foul, then proceeded to berate the ref. He does get tossed here. Do you think maybe he's just like, look, I mean, just, you know, he's not going to be in the playoffs this year anyway. He's just getting a little started early.
Oh man, y'all are not.
LeBron's not playing.
You
He doesn't play.
You guys are. I'm on
Hey, that man missing KD in the Splash Brothers.
Right?
Trust me.
Right?
I'm telling you guys right now.
Frustration right
All part of the plan. I got
I've
you
been
guys to
there.
go to. Oh, Draymond, be angry about this call 9 minutes in.
That is, you
yeah.
know that is not happening.
Okay.
That is not
Light
happening.
years is what they call it. Light years ahead is what they say.
You know that. I can give it to you on some of the other stuff. That is not happening. Nobody needs to wind Draymond Green up. Thank you very much. So, yeah. But that man has earned his paycheck this year too. To Scotty's point, he's been putting in that work for
He's
himself
a coach.
in some
He needs
cases.
an extra check for being a coach.
Welcome back to The Jump. We're entering the home stretch of the regular season, so I do want to talk a little seeding today. The undermanned Sixers did win over the Knicks, and that put them in a virtual tie with the Heat for the 4 seed in the East. However, we're going to put the standings up here in a minute. Philly is also only a game and a half up on Indianapolis, who right now is in the 6th spot. So as you see up here, it is really tight, right, between 4, 5, and 6. So, I mean, we all know the best case scenario for Philly is to get the 4 seed.
Yes.
They have a spectacular home record, one of the best in the league. They have an atrocious road record, one of the worst in the league.
Yep.
So if you can put yourself that even in the first round, you don't have to win a game on the road,
Right.
you want to do that. So they want the 4 seed. But if they slip down to the 5, do they actually want the number 6?
See, I'm of the school of thought that in general you anger the basketball gods when you try to be cute. Just in saying, I want to be this seed because that's better than
I mean, we
being that
saw
seed.
Denver do that a little bit last year.
Yeah, and what happened to him? See,
What
that you
happened
anger the basketball gods. But specifically when it comes to the Sixers, they really don't have a leg to stand on to start trying to gaming the standings. They're so bad on the road, they have to go all in on getting a home court advantage because, as you said, that's going to help you win a series because you're so bad on the road. And here's the reality. You could say we're trying to avoid the Bucks in the second round.
That's what this is, right?
but-
so do the bracket here, right?
Yeah.
So if they end up in the 5, they have to play on the road in the first round,
Right.
So they win at least one road game just to get out of there. And then if they win, they would have to likely, no offense, to the Magic face the Bucks
Right.
in the second round.
But we're acting like if they're the 6, oh, the Celtics, oh, that's a snooze fest. We'll get through them. So that's my
They've had
point.
better luck again. I'm not saying
You
that
want to
they'll
win a series, you might as well play a
Play the
team.
best.
Yeah.
You might
don't-
as well play the best.
Yeah.
To me, if your team is playing good, your guys are healthy, you want to play the best team.
Okay.
And I think going into playoff, you want to be healthy and you want to be playing some of your best basketball. And you want the challenge of playing against a team that's probably beat you 2-3 times in the regular season because they still got to do it again for 3 more times.
Oh, all right, well, that's a good
And
point.
by the way, what if Toronto falls to 3? It's not like they're having great success against Toronto
That is
either.
true, yeah.
So my thing is like this idea that if we fall to 6, then we won't see the Bucks in the conference finals. You're not going to see a conference finals. There's a strong chance you're going to go home in the first round. So you can't mess around with that. Your best bet is to be as good as possible
That's it.
and then play whoever I got to play.
Well, look, they have a lot of obstacles to all of that because you've got Ben Simmons out for an indeterminate period of time. They said they're just going to start checking back up on him in 2 weeks. He could have a back issue that can be serious. You got Joel Embiid out. They said in a week they're going to reevaluate him. So it's going to be at least a few games.
They got a
Feel
tough
bit
week.
tough.
Lakers and
If
Clippers
that's the
coming up.
situation, they're going to fall
Anyway.
in the 6th spot.
Ain't up to them.
Yeah.
We're going to take a very quick break, but coming up afterward, I mean, did you know that Oklahoma City has the second best record in the league, not just in the last few weeks, not just in the last couple months, but since Thanksgiving?
No.
Wow.
It's true. We'll discuss after we come back.
Oh my! Wow. It's a brilliant performance from Jason Tatum. Are you kidding me? They came to see a show.
Oh yes, our next NBA Saturday primetime game, the Rockets head to Boston to face the Celtics. Our coverage tips with the Jump. We are your pregame show at 8 o'clock Eastern on ABC.
Fire.
And welcome back to the Jump Daily Edition. I'm Rachel Nichols, still hanging out with Amin Al-Hassan, Scottie Pippen. I want to talk about this matchup tomorrow in Boston. The Celtics hosting the small ball Rockets. Look, they played once before, and the Celtics, you'd think going in with their lineup, could run with the Rockets, but they lost that game. Houston came in and beat them. So what can Boston do to adjust here and combat these smaller lineups?
Well, I mean, it's difficult because it's new, but they're going to have to try to make it work. I mean, Houston is trying something new, and teams are having to adjust on the fly. And, you know, they got the best scorer in the game. So when you try to play small ball, you're putting yourself at a deficit because now you don't have a rim protector. For me, I think Boston has the best talent, and I think they should win in the small ball battle. Other than James Harden being the X factor, they have the talent that they should be able to outscore them.
So if you were defending James and Russ the way they're going now, not the way they did last season or at the beginning of the season where it was dribble, 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 shoot, but where they are running up and down, getting so much in transition, and when he outlets to Russ, Russ for a while was still trying to clank three-pointers. Now Russ is just using that driving lane to go to the basket. So what would you do if you're on the court against these guys?
I wouldn't play into their hands.
Okay.
I'll keep a big out on the floor because you have to have a rim protector. And what they're trying to do is to get teams to have to match up with their lineup. And if you match up with their lineup, then they're going to be able to have an advantage because of Westbrook, because of Harden, the speed that they possess in terms of pushing the basketball, the downhill in terms of being able to score in transition. So you really can't match up the way that they want to match up. But at times, you're going to have to play small ball because your bigs are not going to be
They're not gonna be able to get there.
withstand
Yeah.
what they can do.
And I think they can match up with them small. I think Marcus Smart is an X factor in that way. But I'm with Scottie in the sense that I would play bigs even if we're losing the plus-minus battle at the time with the bigs because you just want to punish them. You want them to feel that every single time. Feel it, whether it's Cantor or Tice or even a guy like Grant Williams who isn't tall but
linebacker.
he's hefty. You want them to feel that physicality throughout the game so that when we do go small, they're a little tired and worn, almost like rope-a-dope fashion. They're tired and worn. Our small guys are fresh because they haven't had to deal with the same kind of abuse on the other end because Houston doesn't have bigs.
I keep saying, Scotty, we need to get a PJ Tucker prayer candle because if he needs, for this playoff to be fun for the Rockets, he needs to survive what is going to be the next 2 months of getting beat up like that.
Yeah.
I think teams are going to try to do that. All right, before the Saturday primetime game, check out our doubleheader tonight right here on ESPN and the app at 8 Eastern.
This
This
is
is going to be a good one.
This is the game.
Thunderbucks. Then the Nuggets take on Kawhi, and the
I'm gonna
Clippers.
be at that
Our
one.
coverage begins with NBA Countdown
I'll be there.
at 7 o'clock
Be there.
Eastern. So good stuff going on
Courtside.
tonight. Let's talk about the Thunder, because after trading Russell Westbrook and Paul George over the summer, many thought this would be a little bit of a lost season, a rebuilding year, but that has not been the case, friends. OKC currently sitting at 5th in the Western Conference. Our friend Royce Young tweeted about this yesterday. He noted that since Thanksgiving, the Thunder have had the second most wins in the league. And you could say, hey, they played a few more games than other teams, but even once you break it out by winning percentage, still only the Bucks and Lakers have been better than the Thunder. And this is not just in the last few weeks.
Yeah, this is
Since Thanksgiving.
This is sustainable.
Right?
This is
so
who they are.
Are they, better than the team that Damian Lillard waved goodbye to in the first round of the playoffs last year? Is this a better team than last year?
On paper, no, right? Because you got Russ and Paul George were on that team. Paul George was playing extremely well last year. So on paper, no, but they don't play the games on paper, Rachel. They play them on hardwood. And so if you look at the record, last year on this time, the Thunder were 38-23. They're 37-22 right now, but that's counting their slow start. You look at the offense this year, way better than it was. Last year's offense was 16th in the league. This year's offense is 10th, right? And then this defense, last year they were better. They were a top 5 team. This one is a 11th best team. But when you look at the way they use everybody on the roster, that it's not very star-centric. When you look at the development of this guy right here, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, as an up-and-coming star in this league, and then the year that Chris Paul has had, I'm willing to say it. If last year's Thunder played this year's Thunder would win in a 7-game series.
Really?
Yeah, I would have to agree that I think this year's Thunder is better on paper and they're better on the hardwood because they have players that are playing their role, and I think they got better leadership. I have to say that Chris Paul gets his guys to play the way that he wants them to play, and they follow the way that he plays. And that's why they're being successful on the basketball court. They don't come down. They don't take bad shots. They don't give up on the defensive end. They play hard every possession. And I think that all is a feed from the way Chris Paul plays and the way that he gets his guys to believe that they have to play that way to win. They know that they're undermanned. They know that Chris Paul is not a LeBron James, that he's going to dominate in scoring, but his leadership and his way that he guides his guys turns out to be wins.
I tell you, the biggest way you can see that is in their execution in close games, overtime games 3 points or less.
That comeback they had, I have said that sentence out loud talking about Thunder highlights all season. Came from behind and won, came from behind and won. That team has done it over and over.
Execution, and that's something that comes from a guy like Chris Paul, that attention to detail you need to make the right play over and over again.
Well, they're not as talented,
No,
but
no,
they
no.
got better leadership.
But this is a question to me also of fit, right? Because Chris Paul, obviously we know he's an elite player, going to be a Hall of Famer. The fit with James Harden, well, it actually worked out better with some of the X's and O's, and Mike putting them in a good position together. Didn't work in the end when you look at their on-off numbers together. When they were on the court together, Chris Paul's numbers went down. They just weren't as good, and it led a lot of people to say he's getting old, he's past it, whatever. He goes to this team where it is, as you point out, a younger group of guys who are more willing to work in a different way than someone who's a superstar like James Harden.
He's an all-star.
It's a better
He becomes
fit,
an all-star.
right? It's a better fit, and that is why I always think fit is such a big deal. This is a better fit for Chris Paul, and people said, "Oh, he's going to be sorry, not miss. It's going to be tough for Chris Paul not making the playoffs this year." Chris Paul is going to make the playoffs this year.
Might get home court.
Second game of our doubleheader, Paul George. Now, look, he has been struggling a bit, right? 8.3 points a game in the last 4 games. This is them trying to work him back in after having a couple injury outings here. Scotty, what can the Clippers do if they want to focus on getting Paul George going today?
Well, for one, he has to get healthy. Right now, even though he's on the basketball court,
You don't think he's 100%?
He's not 100%. The Clippers are now trying to make a push because they also know how important home court advantage is. They played around all season long, getting guys in and out of the lineup. Kawhi is not able to play back-to-back, still going forward. But I think they're going to make a bigger push over the next couple months in terms of really starting to play better basketball, starting to play better defense, forcing some of their better players to be on the court more so they can start to get a little bit more acclimated to what it's going to be like come playoff time.
Yeah, Scotty's right. He needs to get healthy. He's not 100% healthy, and we see it, but obviously now the Clippers don't have time to say, we'll wait till he gets healthy, so they're trying to get those chemistry issues in there. The other thing is, last year in Oklahoma City, remember he started the year, and they tried to get him going. They drew up a lot of plays, and it didn't work for him But then once he starts to just find and pick and choose his spots within the flow of the offense, he really flourished. I think that's something that they can look at here with the Clippers. Because my initial reaction, like, we got to get him some more pin down action and all these kind of things. But the reality is Paul George is good enough to find his way throughout the flow of the game, and he's smart enough to do that. So
let him play basketball.
Plus let him play basketball. I think he'll be fine.
That's interesting. I do want to shout out something that the Clippers are doing. Producer Tucker, come on, give it up, give it up, give it up. This is very cool. So Kawhi Leonard has been giving out thousands of backpacks to underserved kids around the LA area, kids who don't have school supplies. He's been helping give them to school. And tonight, and you're going to see this on the ESPN broadcast tonight, he is giving all of these backpacks out to every fan in attendance. Now, here's what's interesting, and you can look, by the way, at this. They put up a little sign about what Kawhi is going to do.
Right.
He wants them to use it as agents of change, if we
Right.
can get the graphic up there. And the idea is that every fan should fill this backpack. So he says, show the world how you Kawhi it by using the backpack to have someone's back. Let your actions do the talking, which is certainly a tenet of Kawhi Leonard. He says, fill it with food, and then give it to someone you see on a street corner who's hungry. Put a blanket in it. Give it to someone who looks cold. Give it books into it for a child who doesn't have any. And I think this is, I think it's
awesome.
such a big deal.
That's a great
Players
idea.
in this league do so much stuff behind the scenes. Kawhi has really made such an effort to do things in this LA area. He didn't grow up that far from here, and I think he has really wanted to make sure. So I hope everyone who's at the Staples Center tonight fills this backpack. I know we three are going to fill the backpack.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Do a little bit of good out there. And if you're not in LA and you just want to get a backpack and fill it and follow Kawhi's example, you can go do that too. There
I'm
you
going to
go.
get a Means wallet and fill it up. with
There
this
you
one
go.
and, give it
Perfect.
away
See,
on my way.
Scotty,
It'll be a
that's
pretty
it.
light
You just have
backpack.
a charity instinct. Coming up, Aaron Gordon, not the 2020 dunk contest champion. Many folks watching felt that he should have been. What happened the night of the dunk contest? We have one of the judges here. We will break it down for you next. First, though, here's what the Jump recommends for today. Royce Young's piece on ESPN. Taking us inside the evolution of one of the guys we were just talking about, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The sophomore standout scoring has jumped nearly 9 points a game this season. 9 points. Find out how during the break. Come back with us.
Special.